X foobar, excellent write-up of what actually happened with the router exploit, the code and all that. Very interesting how he explains this. I know no one's going to understand if we go through the code, and there's actually an exploit so you can prove that this stuff works and all that stuff too. But I like this thread. I just want to go through it for a minute. Uniswap v3 is an optimistic swap. And I've read about the optimistic swaps before. Super interesting how this stuff works. Normally, when you request to give one token A for 2 token B, you might expect to pay that much and get token B. That's the usual way of explaining how this stuff works, which is fine for the layperson just to really grok it. But it's actually a little bit more in depth than that. But Uniswap goes in reverse. It sends you token B, then expects you to send it token A in return, and which is much harder to explain to the average person. Since transactions are atomic, which means all or nothing, this isn't a huge deal. It makes features like flash loans or flash swaps easier. But this also means the burden is on the user or the swap aggregator to pay token A at the end of the transaction. And that's what the callback function does, the code that they referenced. Uniswap v3 can have jagged liquidity, shown here, but liquidity varies significantly as the price changes. The sum of piecewise step functions. So if you want to pull itself, calculate how much token A you have, pass that data via the callback. So just technical details. So here's the interesting part too of what actually happened here. The v3 pool can't change behavior, and the code is immutable, audited, battle tested in production. However, that's what makes it so important that you ensure you're interacting with a real v3 pool, not an impersonator. You have to check whether it's deployed by the v3 factory. That's the fatal mistake here. The sushi aggregator doesn't check whether the callback caller was a v3 pool. It just matched the original route. So the MEV bots deployed a fake pool, so returned malicious token A, addresses, amounts, and then stole the money. So super good thread, gives you a lot of resolution, kind of trying to understand what happened. For the average person, you don't really need to understand what happened. You just need to be like, okay, revoke your stuff, which is what Ben's going to get into in a minute. But for the person who likes all the technical details, super interesting to read about what actually causes these types of bugs and how they get exploited.